Lacy protest by Black Lives Matter LA, and she's the DA, and they're trying to get her out. Her husband recently pulled a gun on Melina Abdullah, organizer for Black Lives Matter, at her house, at Jacky Lacy's house during a protest yesterday. He was found. He got charged for doing it. This is a press conference, and this is Melina Abdullah talking.
Javier Becerra is an elected official. He knows what he would face if he didn't press any charges, right? But the charges that he pressed, misdemeanor charges against someone who spoke what he intended to do, who said the words, "I will shoot you," is still an uneven application of so-called justice. Now, if we say we want to, if Jacky Lacy has come on to the abolitionist train and said, you know what, he shouldn't be charged or prosecuted because we believe in abolition, that's great. Then don't press charges against any of our folks for shit either. For anything either. Don't press charges against any of our folks for anything either. Right. But we know that he got preferential treatment because he is the DA's husband. We also know that he's scheduled to be arraigned on the 13th, and I think the East LA courthouse. And I think that we should probably have some kind of presence there. I also want to look up what actually happened, and I won't say too much because there is a case pending, right? There's both a criminal investigation and a civil case pending. But I will say this, that we have been in front of this hall of injustice for almost 3 years now, protesting. I want to say that 4 years prior to our protest, we attempted to have a civil conversation with Jacky Lacy. We asked her, what are the barriers that are preventing you from prosecuting killer cops? And she didn't provide us with anything. She does not want to be on the side of the people. She wants to be on the side of the police who fund her election, right? And so we want to be very clear. It's not like we get any kind of pleasure from waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, jamming ourselves onto a bus and leaving our kids at home and then doing a wake-up call. We do this because I see Jesse Romero's father. We do this because I see Anthony Vargas's family. We do this because Rosario Mack's mother is standing here, right? We do this in the names of the 618 people who have been killed by police on Jacky Lacy's watch and who she refuses to prosecute their murderers. So we do this because it's our sacred duty and our calling to do this work. We do this because we must. And when we started off on that morning of March 2nd, we were prayed up. We had poured libation. We did a land acknowledgement, and we're grateful for the spirit that moves through us, that kept us calm as David Lacy made the intentional decision to come down the stairs, cock a gun, open the door, and pointed at protesters who he could see on his ring camera system, right? He made that decision. Finally, I'll say this, that Jacky Lacy is trying to do this spin now, casting herself and her husband as the victim. There's only one person who had a gun. There's only one person who issued a threat, and that's David Lacy. We are survivors. We are survivors of his assault. We are survivors of his assault. Not just me and Justin and Dahlia, but all of us. There were about 30 to 40 of us who were there. We survived that assault because we were grounded in that spiritual work. Because when he pointed that gun and acted recklessly, we were able to summon that inner calm and say, good morning, right? And so we're grateful for the way in which Spirit moves through us. And we're also grateful for the way that Spirit is moving right now and saying, Jacky Lacy must go. Yes. I need to hear y'all Jacky Lacy must go.
Jacky Lacy must go.
Jacky Lacy must go.
Jacky Lacy must go.
Jacky Lacy will go.
Jacky Lacy will go.
Jacky Lacy will go.
Jacky Lacy will go.
Right now. Right now. Right now. We don't need her to wait till November. We want her to step down right now. There is nothing preventing her from dropping out. So we say, drop out, Jacky.
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 Ashe.
I'm going to try to walk up the middle and get a better vantage point. So there you are. We're at the federal court building downtown. There's a 4-block, a 2-block, like a 1-block and a 2-block parameter set up by the police in all directions. This is south, that was north. It's LAPD, and they shut the streets down for this. But it's pretty much the same crowd as always. Anyways, I'm gonna try to see if I can get up in the middle and get a better vantage point and see who's talking.
That Jacky Lacy promised us that she could have before December 2019. Those are the things that we do. Once the chairs were set up, once we were prayed up, we said, let's invite her outside. And so I, along with Dahlia and Justin, walked to the porch. We saw she actually had 2 monitoring systems. One was a ring system, which many of us have ourselves. We know that if you press that doorbell, it goes straight to your phone and whatever other devices you have it into. Ring the doorbell, it takes a few minutes. We hear someone come down the stairs. We hear David Lacy, now we know it's who David Lacy, cock a gun. We actually said, I said to Dahlia, who's my comrade from White People for Black Lives, thinking I was being paranoid, I said to her, to them, I said, that doesn't sound good, and we kind of chuckled, thinking we were being paranoid. Then the door opens, David Lacy sticks the gun out the door, opens the door wide open, so he's clearly not afraid, sticks the gun out the door, and says, get off my porch. At which time I say, good morning. Then he says, get off my porch, and I said, we will get off your porch. Are you going to shoot me? Now I want to be clear that this work that we do as part of Black Lives Matter is our sacred duty. It is our soul work. It's what we believe we owe to our ancestors and all of those who've been stolen by police violence. But this is not my job. I'm not paid for this work, and I'm also a mother. 3 of my children are standing here. So when he pointed the gun at me, he pointed the gun at a black mother. He pointed the gun at an educator. He pointed the gun at a college student. He pointed a gun at a city worker. He pointed a gun at community members who are committed to this justice struggle. That's who he pointed the gun at, and Jacky Lacy and David Lacy are very familiar with who we are. They didn't think we were intruders. They didn't think we were anything but protesters, and they are tired and annoyed by the protests. That does not give them a right to point at them. That's what happened, and that's why, another reason why she wants to go. Any other questions?
Jacky.
Jackie Lacy? Hey. Now we are going to turn over and do what we came to do every Wednesday here. What we come to do every Wednesday starting in October 2017 to remind us and Jackie Lacy why she has to go. There's nothing Jackie Lacy can do now. Nothing. She can't, just because she's about to prosecute some police, it's too late. Too little, too late. And she still hasn't prosecuted any of the cases. So we are going to start with our Jackie Lacy Must Go. And we have a new chant now. That's Jackie Lacy, drop out. Y'all got that? It's drop out Jackie. Y'all got that? Drop out Jackie. You can't win. You might as well just drop out now. You and your husband just enjoy your pension and enjoy the rest of your life. But we stand here to get justice for the families and to hold police accountable. So now we're going to start again with Melina. And before we get started with Melina, that's Dr. Melina Abdullah. Yeah. This Dr. Melina Abdullah, the People's Dean of Ethnic Studies at Cal State, LA. How many of you are on Twitter? All right, but we're going to ask you to join us because we've been doing a Twitter storm and almost 2,500 tweets demanding that Melina be appointed the inaugural dean of the College of Ethnic Studies. So the next time we introduce it'll be Dr. or Dean Melina Abdullah. Dr. Dean. But we're going to open with libation because we need that grounding. We rarely start the chants because we need that grounding. We rarely lift our voices because we need that grounding. That grounding reminds us about why we're here, because we call out the names. We recognize the people who have been stolen from us, but more importantly, our ancestors and the people who are counting on us. So we need that grounding before we get started. So we are going to pour our libation
6 feet. Sure.
And to call the names. Melina? Yes. This is the closest we can get to Earth.
Okay, there we go. That's good. So before I pour a libation, I don't know if Bianca's still here. I also neglected to thank our attorneys, that Carl Douglas and Bianca Perez and the whole law firm at Young Six have been representing Black Lives Matter pro bono for years. And so we're very grateful because we know also we get arrested a lot and you're always there. And so we're very grateful to you for, Carl Douglas always says this is his contribution to the movement. And so we're grateful to you for being here today, but also for always representing us. All right, so we know what we say all the time, that Black Lives Matter is absolutely a racial justice, a social justice movement, and the reason that we are empowered is because it's also a spiritual movement. So the pouring of libation is an intentional calling in of those spirits who we can't see, but who are among us, who empower us, who power us forward, and who ensure our victory. I don't think it's accidental that David Lacy has been charged now, 3 months before the election. Let me just be straight up And then I'll be quiet and do what I'm supposed to do. Ain't no way she's going to win with her husband on trial. I'm glad it waited until August because people aren't going to forget in November that her husband threatened to shoot us. People aren't going to forget that, and if they do, you need to make sure you constantly remind them, right? That is spirit moving. And so we need to remember that, in the moments in March, we might have felt like, how is he getting off the hook? But spirit always knows what's best. And so it's important that we lift that up and that we embrace spirit. So when we call these names, we're acknowledging their presence and we're saying, thank you for being here. And when we call the first set of names, we're calling the names so that we struggle forward righteously in those names. Never misusing those names, always doing the work that their bodies can no longer do because they've been stolen. But their spirits are still present. Ashe? Ashe. So this first set of names that we're going to call is the names of those who've been stolen by police, right? The way we're going to do it, and I know almost everybody's been here before, we're going to I'll call a name, then we'll call the name collectively, and then we'll say the word Ashe. Ashe is a word of power. It's just like saying Amen, Amen, so be it, okay? So I'll call the name, we'll say it collectively, then we'll say Ashe. Then we'll call a second set of names, right? This is the first gathering during Black August. We're going to call the names of those freedom fighters, those African warriors who walked before us, beginning with the names of those who were political or politicized prisoners. And then finally, we're going to close with the name of one bloodline or spirit line ancestor. Does that work for y'all? Yeah. So let's start by calling the name Rashari O'Mac.
Rashari O'Mac. Ashe.
Jesse Romero.
Jesse Romero. Ashe.
Anthony Vargas.
Anthony Vargas. Ashe.
A.J. Weber.
A.J. Weber. Ashe. Keisha Michaels. Ashe. Christopher DeAndre Mitchell. Ashe. Ryan Twyman. Ashe.
Kenneth French.
Ashe. Albert Ramon Dorsey. Ashe. Tamir Rice. Ashe.
Eric Rivera.
Eric Rivera. Ashe.
John Horton.
Ashe.
Kenneth Ross Jr.
Kenneth Ross Jr. Ashe.
Michael
Thomas. Ashe.
Riddell Jones.
Riddell Jones. Ashe.
Waukesha Wilson.
Ashe. Antoine Rose. Ashe.
Breonna
Taylor. Ashe.
George Floyd.
George Floyd. Ashe.
Cesar Rodriguez.
Cesar Rodriguez.
Ashe.
Ezell Ford.
Ezell Ford. Ashe.
Ahmaud Arbery.
Ahmaud Arbery. Ashe.
Ayanna Stanley Jones.
Ayanna Stanley Jones. Ashe.
Tatiana Jefferson.
Tatiana Jefferson. Ashe.
Andres Bordado.
Andres Bordado. Ashe.
Alicia Thomas.
Alicia Thomas. Ashe.
J.R. Thomas.
J.R. Thomas. Ashe.
Brother Africa.
Brother Africa. Ashe.
Kendrick McDade.
Ashe.
Melly Corrado.
Ashe.
Okay, so let's practice this. Let me say the name. Let's do it in unison, and then we all say Ashe. Because we're not hearing some of the things that are being said back here, and we're missing saying it in unison. Does that work for folks?
Yes.
Okay. Other names.
Keisha Michael.
Keisha Michael.
Keisha Michael. Ashe.
Marquinton Sandlin.
Margaret Sandlin, Ashe.
Ryan Twyman,
Ryan Twyman, Ashe.
Elijah McLean,
Elijah McLean, Ashe.
Daniel Hernandez,
Daniel Hernandez, Ashe.
Rayshard Brooks.
Rayshard Brooks,
Richard Brooks, Ashe.
Brendan Glenn,
Brendan Glenn, Ashe.
Mytrice Richardson,
Patrice Richardson, Ashe.
Shailene Graves,
Shailene Graves, Ashe.
Megan Hockaday,
Megan Hockaday, Ashe.
Eric Rivera.
Eric Rivera, Ashe.
I'm sure we could call many more names. Let's think of one name. Let's think of one name. Summon it into your spirit. You got the name? Let it travel up your vocal cords. Let it rest on the tip of your tongue. On the count of 3, we're going to call that name. 1, 2, 3.
Ashe.
The next set of names that we're going to call is African warriors who walked before us. Those are being intentionally called to power us forward. Let's start by calling the name George Jackson.
George Jackson, Ashe.
William Christmas.
William Christmas, Ashe.
Jonathan Jackson.
Jonathan Jackson, Ashe.
Fred Hampton.
Fred Hampton, Ashe.
Marcus Garvey.
Marcus Garvey, Ashe.
Shaka Zulu.
Shaka Zulu, Ashe.
Ya Santewa.
Ya Santewa, Ashe.
Nzinga.
Queen Nzinga.
Queen Nzinga, Ashe.
Thomas
Walter
Sankara.
Rodney.
Walter Rodney, Ashe.
Thomas Sankara.
Thomas Sankara.
Thomas Sankara, Ashe.
Patrice Lumumba.
Patrice Lumumba, Ashe.
Malcolm X.
Malcolm X, Ashe.
Betty Shabazz.
Betty Shabazz, Ashe.
Eugenia Burns Hope.
Virginia Burns Hope, Ashe.
Bayard Rustin.
Bayard Rustin.
Bayard Rustin, Ashe.
John Lewis.
John Lewis, Ashe.
Marsha P. Johnson.
Marsha P. Johnson, Ashe.
C.T. Vivian.
C.T. Vivian, Ashe.
Eddie H.
Eddie H, Ashe.
Mama Ida B. Wells.
Mama Ida B. Wells, Ashe.
Mama Ella Baker.
Mama Ella Baker, Ashe.
Afeni Shakur.
Afeni Shakur, Ashe.
Brother Macapone.
Brother Macapone, Ashe.
Fannie Lou Hamer.
This is Fannie Lou Hamer.
This is Fannie Lou Hamer, Ashe.
Mama Harriet Tubman.
Mama Harriet Tubman, Ashe.
Mother Rosa Parks.
Mother Rosa Parks, Ashe.
Mrs. Joanne Robinson.
Mrs. Joanne Robinson, Ashe.
Septima Clark.
Septima Clark, Ashe.
Delbert Africa.
Delbert Africa, Ashe.
Coretta Scott King.
Coretta Scott King, Ashe.
Biddy Mason.
Biddy Mason, Ashe.
Sojourner Truth.
Sojourner Truth, Ashe.
James Baldwin.
James Baldwin, whose birthday just passed.
James Baldwin, Ashe.
Audrey Lorde.
Audrey Lorde, Ashe.
Kwame Ture.
Kwame Ture.
Ashe.
Kwame Nkrumah.
Kwame Nkrumah, Ashe.
Madam C.J. Walker.
France Fanon.
France Fanon, Ashe.
Let's all think of one more warrior spirit. One more warrior spirit. Let's summon them into our spirits. Hold them in our hearts. Let their name travel up our vocal cords and rest on the tip of our tongue. And on the count of 3, we're going to call that name. 1, 2, 3.
Cynical.
The last name we're going to call is someone in our bloodline, our spirit line, that spirit that made you get up, that spirit that made you say, it doesn't matter what white supremacy says, we are staying in these streets. You got the name? This is your own bloodline or spirit line ancestor. You got the name? I want you to think of the name as you would call them so they can recognize you. Summon them into your spirit. Hold them in your heart. Let their name travel up your vocal cords. Rest on the tip of your tongue. And on the count of 3, we're going to call that name. 1, 2, 3. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe.
Jacky Lacy must go!
Jacky Lacy must go!
Jacky Lacy will go!
Jacky Lacy will go!
Jacky Lacy must go!
Jacky Lacy must go!
Jacky Lacy will go!
Jacky Lacy will go!
Drop out, Jacky!
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 Yeah! We're going to start off today with one of our powerful mothers in this struggle. As y'all know, the 2 things we do every week here at Jacky Lacy is 1, remind her by lifting our voices that her ass gotta go, right? And number 2, make space for the families that she has continued to fail to make space for and continue to fail to hold accountable the officers who murdered their family members, right? We have with us today the mother of Deshario Mack, who was killed in the Crenshaw Mall in April of 2018. Give it up for Sister Catherine Walker.
Amen.
Wow, it's been 2 years and 3 months now since LAPD took the life of my son. And every day I call out to God and say, Lord, let there be justice. Not only for my son, but for all the loved ones that are standing there, other people that are standing there that lost their loved ones. Let God bring down. And bring down those ones that think they can do wrong. That's why God is in the rebuilding season. He's rebuilding the ones that's been out here hurting our loved ones. He's bringing them to the light. Because what they did in the dark, getting no God, we're going to bring it to light. He's going to rebuild it. Amen. So to the officers that killed my son, watch out for the big payback. Only so I have God standing by my side. Man, all these people out here, all over the world, all over the United States, that's joining in with Black Lives Matter to bring justice to our people. Hold on to hope. Hold on. Because there's going to be a change, and we're going to make the change.
We also have Brishario's father, who many of y'all have probably heard from, who continues to show up and be on the front lines for his son as well, Brother Quintus Moore.
I just wanted to start out by saying, you know, when you keep doing dirt, keep doing dirt, keep doing dirty, keep doing dulo, ain't karma a bitch?
Hey.
Now karma that came and knocked at Jacky Lacy's door. She refuses to prosecute any killer cops, but today, or what was it, a couple of days ago, her husband got prosecuted. That's karma for your ass, Jacky. That's one down and one to go. So they on the same ship. It's sinking fast. And I come to the realization and found out that Jacky, she's a sneaky ass. I found out that on one end, she's killing us by the governor put a moratorium on the death penalty. She done gave 22 people since she's been in office the death penalty, even though the moratorium is in place. It's like 13 are Hispanic, 8 of them are black, and 1 is Asian. And they're all on death row, even though there's a moratorium on the death penalty. So she's up there trying to kill them with the pen, and the police are out in the streets killing them with the gun. And we're stuck in the middle. And she refuses to do anything about it. And she's not going to do anything about it, just like Trump. He ain't going to do shit. He ain't going to change. Jacky Lacy ain't going to change. Chief Moore ain't going to change. Sheriff ain't going to change. We just found out today that the sheriffs, of which I already knew, they have a gang, and it's 20-something gang members on the sheriff. They wear these skull tattoos with machine guns and helmets on it. And the name of the gang is called the Executioners.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's been on the news all day. And one of the sheriffs, he's an ex-military man. He joined the force to do some good. He found out about this gang, and the last straw for him was when the gang got so bad they beat up one of their own sheriffs. So the guy that joined the force from the military, he decided to call the anonymous number. The gang intercepted the call and found out he was calling to tell on him. So he put it out that he's a rat now. Just like any other organized crime organization, the guy who's telling the dirt is a rat. This is the sheriff's department. Since the sheriff has been in there, they've been trying to get rid of him. They can't seem to fire him. Chief Moore can't seem to fire any LAPD officers. Jacky Lacy won't prosecute any of them. This is some fucked up shit. This is real talk. This is what's really happening. This is what's going on in LA. But we're out here stirring up trouble, and we're stirring up good trouble, like John Lewis said. We're stirring up good trouble. So I know some of you might be a cook, a doctor, a librarian, a nurse, a firefighter, working at fast food joints. Whatever you do, your other thing that you can put on your resume, you're a freedom fighter now. You'll be able to tell your children and your children's children that you did something about this shit. You can just stand by and watch. Because those who won't stand for something will fall for any damn thing. So that's why we're out here fighting together. And together, we're going to get rid of them. So we do have some power. And the power is coming in November. They're trying to everything they can do to stop that. The one thing that we do have, John Lewis and them fought, bled, got beat, got cigarette burns on them, got when they sit in at restaurants in Jim Crow, they would pour milkshakes on their heads, put cigarette butts on their backs, kick them in the ribs. They did them dirty. I don't know if you saw the march from Selma to the bridge. They beat the shit out of him. But they kept on fighting. They kept on fighting. He got up and he kept on fighting. They cracked his skull. He went to the hospital. He got up. He healed. He got right back out there and continued to fight. Because it's a good fight. So, come November, don't look at the vote like it's a extra errand to run. Oh, I got to go to the store. I got to go to the post office. And if I got time, I'm going to go vote. No, you got to vote. That's our tool to get them out of here. That's how we gonna shoot back at the polls. We're gonna shoot them back at the polls. We're gonna get rid of them at the polls. So, tell everybody you know to vote like their lives depend on it, because it does. God bless you. Thank you for being here. Rosario Max, say his name!
Rosario Max!
Say his name!
Rosario Max!
Say his name!
Rosario Max!
I say. We're gonna go next. Y'all ready? Yeah. To the family of Anthony Vargas. His aunt, Sister Stephanie, is coming up here. His mom is here. Please give it up for the family of Anthony Vargas, y'all.
Hi everyone, thank you guys for coming out. Next Wednesday is actually going to mark the second year that my nephew was taken from us. He was stolen from us. This happened in 2018. My nephew was walking home from a barbecue. He was, mistaken for a suspect in a robbery. He was followed. My nephew ran, just because you see a cop, you see the shit that's going on the news, you run from them. My nephew had his back turned. He was shot 13 times by these two deputies. All down his back. There was 11 shots in his back and 2 shots went to his head. I actually joined the town hall meeting that Villanueva was having on live, and I asked him, if he can explain to me why the fuck these officers are still patrolling my area. We walk to the corner store, we see these officers in their cruisers, they slow down in front of our house. I asked him, why are these officers still on the force? He responded to me? He told me, go online, read the Jacky Lacy report, because the shooting of your nephew was justifiable. None of these kids deserve to die, the way that they've died. These cops, they wear a badge and they think that they're above us, and they're not. Nope. They're not. We show up. I can't thank BLM enough for coming out here day in and day out. Like, Dr. Molina said, she has kids at home and she still, is out there at 4 o'clock in the morning fighting for all of you guys, and, most importantly, she's fighting on behalf of my family. And I can't thank, BLM enough for that. And, I just want everyone to keep coming out and keep fighting. Don't be afraid. Don't be intimidated. I know it's hot out here. I know, COVID's up. Wear your mask and keep fighting, because... November, Jacky Lacy doesn't decide to resign before then, it's up to us to get her the hell out of office. We don't need her up there anymore justifying all the murders of these kids, and I call them murders because that's what they are. That is what they are. Our kids are not being killed, they're being fucking murdered. They're being murdered by these guys with badges, and they're being protected by the devil in the office. And we need her out of there. We need her out of there. Next Saturday, we are having a rally at the 3rd Street Police Station.